Hey, everybody. Welcome to the TEConnect podcast. I'm John Martin.
And I'm Dean Riverman.
So, Dean, last year at VARTech, you had a segment where you talked about partner-assisted solutions and selling.
Yes.
How it's important to, to have partners and not just try to be going it by yourself.
Yes.
And that a full solution means more than just,
still important.
Widget you've got. Yeah.
Now, 8 months hence. Yes.
Yeah, I didn't think it was going to stop being important. We were just like, nah. We're back to just
to not doing that.
Throw a barcode scanner on the counter, get some cash, and just walk away and say good luck. No, we're not doing that.
That's right. Yeah.
And we always talk about on the show also that no VAR is an island. That you don't have to do it by yourself.
That's right.
You don't have to wing it alone.
Yeah.
That's our theme today. We're going to dive a little further into this idea of
I like it.
partner-assisted solutions and selling and how to partner up. And in particular, we're going to talk about partnering with hardware manufacturers. And understanding a little bit more about how they fit into the solution puzzle.
If you're doing it right, maybe.
How they can assist you, how you should be partnering up with them. We've got a couple folks from Star with us today. We've got Kate and Mark. They're both joining us from Star to talk a little bit about this. They brought this to us. They said, hey, we'd love to talk about how you can partner up better with manufacturers.
Nice.
So we're going to get into what that...
Star is one of the better ones to partner up with.
We're going to get into what that means to them. What do they think the partner-assisted looks like? What it means to have a partnership. We're going to talk about it from the VAR perspective. We're going to talk about it from the ISV perspective.
Yes.
We're going to talk a little bit about when they should be getting partners involved in the hardware side. And then, of course, we'll do our usual value to the VAR. What's TEConnecting with us?
Good stuff.
It's
Let's partner up, shall we?
That's right. Let's partner up. Let's get to it. It's time to plug in and get connected.
Welcome to the TEConnect podcast. It's time to get connected.
All right, as I mentioned, we've got two fantastic guests with us on the show today from Star Micronics. First up, we got Kate Orara. She is the Partner Development Manager over at Star. Yep. Kate, welcome to the show. Tell us a little about yourself. I know you've been around the channel in a couple of different areas. You've got, a lot of background and history with our particular business. So tell us a little about that and what led you to where you are today.
Thank you. It's so great to be on the podcast with you, John and Dean, and thanks for having us. So yes, I'm Kate Orara, Partner Development Manager at Star Micronics. I have been in the channel industry for almost 18 years now. So I started when I was 5. Right after I graduated from Clemson University, go Tigers. And I think what was great about, or what I've kind of learned in the industry, what I've kind of gained, and because you said I have been around for a little while yet, I've been at various companies, really only 5 to be exact, but basically I've dealt with anywhere from the end user level to the reseller level to distribution. And what I have found, and one of the things that I've always really started pushing is channel. The channel is where it's at. You want to take care of the end users, but focusing directly on the channel. And what brought me to Star is just my connections through the industry, people that I've met, my experience, and just overall understanding of the channel and the importance of what it brings to the end user for the final goal.
There you go.
Love it. Great. All right. Our other guest is Mark Rasho. He is the Product Integration Manager for Star. Mark, tell us a little bit about your background. What led you to where you are today?
Hey, John and Dean. Thank you for having me. So I originally came from the auto industry, manufacturing auto parts. So I did that before I came to Star. I actually did not know, I knew very little about the point of sale industry. So I started as an integration account executive with my electrical engineering background and software. And now managing the team. I love the industry, and I noticed what's different from this industry than the automotive, a lot of partnering. So you have a lot of partners, you have the VARs, you have the end users, the ISVs, the manufacturers, and I just love the dynamics of this. And I've been doing this for 4 years now, and I'm managing a team. We have integration specialists on the team and integration account executives. So did not know too much about the point of sale industry, but I love it.
Well, hey, there we go. We got two
We're glad
experts.
to have you.
Yeah, they've got the expertise. They understand the idea to how important it is to partner. And I mean, let's start talking about this. Let's talk about this idea of partnering and the idea that no VAR or ISV in this instance is an island. You don't have to do this by yourself. You know, and I mean, we talk about this all the time on the show that you know a good solution. Again, it's not going to be one where you just have, I got a widget, I'm going to sell you that widget, and then we're done here. Because I think most end customers at this point don't want that.
No,
they want to work with people who understand that, like,
that's right.
You need a lot of stuff.
Yep.
And it's okay if you're not the expert in all that stuff because this channel helps you connect to those experts.
That's right.
So let's talk about that. Let's talk about that idea of partner-assisted selling, partner-assisted solutions. What does that mean to you guys? You know, and how have attitudes shifted about those partnerships? I mean, I'm sure once upon a time people did kind of have that kind of segmented, siloed attitude.
What do I need a partner for?
You know, when does that happen? When did that shift occur? And where are we seeing that with the end customers at this point?
So I'll kind of start it off. So for me, when I started in the channel all those years ago, partnerships were they were rare. They were very rare. I worked for a services only company where we were always trying to get people to use us as their service provider. We were their national service center. And a lot of resellers were very nervous about that partnership. They were like, I don't know, how can I trust that you're not going to go after my customers? And so I think just in general, that the channel has evolved where partnerships are no longer just something that would be nice to have, but it's a necessity. And those partnerships, and now the technology advances where you have all these ISVs coming in with great solutions, variety of solutions that cater to certain end users. And the end users are just, they need to have a solution that's going to help their business function in the most efficient way possible. And I think for these resellers, they had to kind of understand their limits, and the ISVs too, understand your limits and understand that there are certain aspects of the business that you just need to outsource. You need to develop that partnership with somebody, find somebody who has that strength where you're weakest instead of trying to do everything. ISVs, they're great at software. Resellers are good at services and hardware. So it just makes sense to combine them.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Agreed. Mark, what about you? How do you feel about the partner-assisted ecosphere?
So I noticed a lot of it changed during the pandemic. So what we got, like to Kate's point, a lot of new ISVs in certain types of industries. So for example, the food truck industry during COVID, most of them never had point of sale systems. So an ISV started building a point of sale system for food trucks, and they're going to need a lot of support. They're going to need a lot of partners. They reached out to us, and we support on the integration side, recommend VARs. So when you're a small startup and you have a niche product for a certain industry like food trucks, you're going to want a lot of support. You're going to need a lot of partnership. And seeing that happen, I've seen those types of ISVs grow, and now they're doing really good. And I love seeing that because they started off really small. They didn't have the means. So they needed VARs, they needed partners, they needed manufacturer partners, they needed support with integration and software too. And from my experience, that's the way to go.
Yeah, I'm going to throw some statistics out here because I agree with Kate, what Kate said originally there, that back in the past, because when I worked for a reseller, that the disposition that, no, this is my customer. Right. Why in the hell would I want to share this with anybody else? Like literally, like you could have called my mother a name and I would have been less offended than had you asked me to share my customer. Right? I mean, that like didn't happen. But it was actually a software manufacturer that got us to ease that a little bit because they introduced us to some resellers that were across the nation. We would never compete with them. We actually ended up starting doing business with them and services with them. So anyway, but some statistics here, 96% of B2B leaders expect to increase revenue directly attributed to their partner ecosystem. So when you have a world now where B2B leaders actually see their ecosystem as being, an area where they're going to increase their revenue, that's a shift in mentality, right? 57% of organizations use partnerships to acquire new customers. So, those two statistics to me lead me to believe that, yes, I think resellers are now starting to come to the realization that, number one, it is a viable way to grow your business. If you're looking to try to get top line revenue, one of the ways to do that is through a partner ecosystem. And if you're trying to get new customers, which who's not trying to get new customers, that's another path of doing that. So if you realize that reality, now you just have to pivot to mentally saying to yourself, okay, how do I take effective use of an ecosystem, right? And these partnerships that are going to come down the road, because I don't want to be the old stodgy, where the company I worked for 25 years ago, where no, it ain't going to happen. That company's going to die, right? That company's going to go away. It comes through an ecosystem.
Yeah, I agree. And I mean, I think a lot of this too also has to do with just shifting attitudes about technology and like the startup culture and where we've come, especially on the software side of things. I like what Mark mentioned earlier about the idea of the niche software, like the point of sale for food trucks, for instance.
Yeah,
where you've got someone that comes up with a great idea and they see a need and they're like, I see a need for something very specific, and I'm going to create that something specific. And maybe that's your thing. Is I'm great at software. I'm great at coming up with that. Maybe you understand that industry really well. I understand what is needed and what is vital for that industry. I get all of that. But then you're going to hit that point where maybe you're not an entrepreneur. Maybe you don't understand how to scale. Maybe you don't know about how hardware integration really works, or you don't understand some of that side of it. Maybe you don't know a lot about financing, for instance. There's a lot of moving parts that you are really good at what you're doing, but maybe you don't get all the other little things that go into it. You just think, hey, I've got this great software and I'm going to sell it to these guys. But then the folks on the other end are looking at it and saying, that's great. Can you help me figure out where it fits into my current display that I'm using, or to the cash registers that I'm using? How am I going to scale this to 5 other food trucks along the way? How do I finance this? If those questions that you can't answer, that's where you need a partner to do that. And I do think that's where hopefully now more people are seeing the value of, I need to connect with some other folks that can help me get there. And it's not everyone's trying to steal each other's or each other's business.
That's right.
Maybe there's one point of contact that's kind of the face of it all, but behind the scenes, recognizing there's a lot of other folks that are helping us get there.
Hey, Kate, I mean, like, how often do you get asked, hey, I need somebody who can do this, from the partner community? Does that happen often to you, right? Where like your customers are coming to you and saying, hey, do you know somebody who does this, or do you know somebody who does that?
Oh, absolutely. And that's what I know for us at Star, we want to sync those relationships up. If it's at the end of the day, it's just like not every person is the right, fit for a certain company as far as job wise. And it's the same thing for partnerships. Not everybody should be working together. It's just trying to find that right relationship. I have some that come to me that say, they know exactly what they want. They know who they want to work with. And that's fantastic. We would never tell them otherwise. And there's some that's like, I've been looking at this partner. I'm not sure if they're the right fit. What do you think? And then we do kind of ask some qualifying questions a little bit. And then honestly, I always encourage our partners to kind of interview other, to interview other companies. I give them kind of a list and some contacts and say, hey, reach out to these people, have that conversation with them. And then you let me know, are all of them a good fit, and who, we can kind of go from there. I think that that's exactly something, I want to make sure that we do what's right for everybody involved, because not everything is perfect off the bat. So we want to make sure that we make as best as matches as we can.
That's really smart, because that's the reality of business, right?
Yeah.
I firmly believe it's incumbent upon the channel to develop a community of partners, right? And to Kate's point, not every partner is perfect. Not every partner is going to mesh with the DNA of a particular company, but it's through this ecosystem. And again, it's incumbent upon all of us to kind of vet these solutions, vet these partners out, because we all come across them. And when you look at the statistic that, I think 2 years ago, there were 100,000 ISVs in the marketplace. By 2027, I think it's supposed to be 1 million. So you just have this crush of new software development companies coming into into the space. Well, if you're a reseller, how do you sit back and say to yourself, well, which one's the right one to go to?
Right.
I mean, if I'm going to start Googling whatever it might be, I mean, what a
Food truck
nightmare.
POS. Yeah,
What a nightmare. I can't imagine it. So you have to lean in on your partnerships. And I think Kate's approach to it and Star's approach is brilliant in the sense that, okay, well, we have a couple partners that might be able to help you. Here, try a couple out and see if it matches with your DNA. Again, that's this kind of community that I think you get out of the channel that you don't get outside of the channel, right?
Yeah.
It's a value.
Well, I think it builds some trust there too. Like
Oh,
when you're
for
able to go
sure.
and say like, hey, you know what? I'm not going to just give you one solution that
Bingo.
will make you think that I, have some vested interest in giving you that solution. Here are 4 partners that I recommend, but to Kate's point, I also recommend that you go out and spend your own time with them and research them and interview them. It's almost like dating,
That's it.
Like you're not going to give somebody and say, hey, this is your partner for life. Sorry.
Top 3 things that customers, so these are end users, they value trust over everything. So if you are a valid or a valued solution integrator, reseller to that customer, and they trust you, that has a certain amount of value.
And it might even sometimes be saying, hey, I'm not the partner for you on this. Like this isn't my specialty.
That's right.
But I do know somebody who is, and I'll get you, connect you up to them too.
Or Kate does.
Yeah, exactly. Or Kate does.
But that's her job. So you're a partner program. I mean, come on.
Yeah, exactly. Well, okay, so then let's start talking about this, the idea of partnering with hardware manufacturers in particular. And let's start from the VAR side of things. So if you're a VAR, what should you be looking for as a VAR when you're looking for a hardware partner? What should you be asking about? What could you expect out of that relationship? What does that look like when you're a VAR saying, hey, I need a hardware partner. I know I know how to sell. I know how to, maybe develop solutions and understand what my customers want, but I need to figure out how to partner with the right hardware manufacturer.
Right. So going back to what I said earlier, and when we were talking about the start of how partnerships really weren't existent, it's that, and you just said it, the trust level, right? And it's, is that partner or that hardware manufacturer channel friendly? For instance, Star only sells through the channel. We only go through distribution. We don't have any direct accounts. There isn't anything that happens like that. So, finding a manufacturer that is the right fit for you that you can trust, and are they channel friendly, or do they have, and I'm not to say that because I know that I've worked at previous companies where there's a lot of channel business, but then there was some direct business with some particular end users, which is understandable. But is that a deal breaker for you? Is it something as a reseller, are you okay with that being there? Or are you going to have something in the back of your mind that might be like, could they be taking my customer away? Not to say that that's something that's going to happen, but you need to find that partner that you can trust. And another thing is, what kind of support do you get? And I'll kind of let Mark talk a little bit about that. But as far as what kind of support can you get from the manufacturer? So I don't know who wants to Mark.
Yeah, as far as the support, a VAR is going to want to look at, is there a dedicated integration team that'll work with the customer? Do they have good SDKs, software development kits to make the development easier? Do they provide demo units? Do they have a dedicated integration specialist that will work with the software provider to make sure everything's working good? And we ask a lot of questions, qualifying questions. What is this point of sale going to do? Are you going to have online ordering? Are you going to have printing in the kitchen? Are you going to have printing at the bar? So we want to kind of look at everything and then make a recommendation to that customer. And we have a special dedicated team that does that and that continues working with the software developer to make sure, hey, this is the way we're going to go. This is the hardware we're going to use. Now we're ready to start purchasing. So it's a process, but we make sure that it's the perfect fit. And then what we also do is, hey, this is a plan B. If you have customers that aren't doing online ordering, you might want to go with this setup. If you got customers that are just point of sale, you're going to want to stick with this setup. So it varies from customer to customer, and that's what we do. We try to figure it out and set it up the best way we can for them.
So I got to go ahead, Kate.
I was going to kind of bringing it back to the VAR itself, the VAR relationship, getting that support from the manufacturer, but then also what kind of visibility do you have? What kind of support do you get from a marketing perspective? Can that hardware manufacturer give you co-branded collateral, something where you can promote the hardware, the whole solution, the whole shebang with your logo on it. Any sort of social media campaigns or marketing campaigns to do some lead generation. And then just maybe even having a portal to have access to a lot of tools that you might need that would make your life easier. That's always having those tools readily available to a reseller is what I have found in my my tenure here at Star, almost a year now. It's been super important for the reseller to have.
Yeah, not fair. You guys cheated because I had support on my list as like one of the number one things. But Mark, let me throw you a softball. How much weight do you put behind the feedback that you get from resellers or software manufacturers as you're going through product integration or maybe even feedbacking to future product development? Do you put weight behind the feedback that you get?
Absolutely. That's one of the questions we always ask. What do we need to do to make it easier for the software developer or the reseller to sell their product? And we always ask, what's your pain point? What else can we do? What else would you like? And a lot of our new technology that we're actually launching this year comes from feedback or ideas from our customers. And all our SDKs, which is a software development kit to support integration, always comes from feedback from the customer. So basically, we need the reseller to tell us what they need, and that's how we go about our business. That's how we plan for new software. That's how we plan for new hardware. Just kind of seeing what's out in the market and what the customers are asking for or wish they had.
Bingo. So it was an intentional softball in the sense that I knew that Star is one of those companies that listens.
Right.
And when you're a value-added reseller looking for partnerships, especially on the hardware side, you want a partner that's going to listen. Now, they may not be able to do everything that you want them to do or need them to do or whatever, but the listening, the feedback, the ability to have some feedback, the ability to work collaboratively to figure out issues, that is why Star has been successful, and companies like Star are successful in the sense that they'll open up that feedback loop and actually react to it. So when you are a reseller looking for hardware manufacturers, you want to press on that front a little bit. Hey, here's my feedback. What are your thoughts? How will that iterate? You don't want that going into a black hole. Whereas, years down the road, they're not even listening to you. They're not really a partner. They're just doing their own thing, not listening to the feedback that comes from the boots on the ground, which the resellers really are.
Yeah, I think that should be a part of the expectation when you are working with a manufacturer.
Yeah, but not every manufacturer does
they
that.
Don't.
That's what I'm saying. Right.
It reminds me of a few weeks back when we talked about our supply chain warehouse survey, and part of that was asking what products do you use? What devices do you use for your mobile devices? For mobile computers, barcode scanners, etc. And I remember I was talking about the fact that of the list that we saw, there were a good, I don't know, maybe 30% that were manufacturers we'd never even heard of.
Right, yeah.
Which tells me they're probably not part of the channel, and which also tells me
not.
They probably are just like, somebody goes to them and says, I need something, like, here's the latest and greatest gadget that I've got. Here's the one that's going to make me the most margin. This is what I'm going to sell you. And probably not a lot of that not a lot of that background of, let me ask you some questions. Let's find out a little bit more about what's happening with you and your partner. Let's get these details in place before we make a recommendation. Because again, it goes all back to that trust. It goes back to that expectation of when someone approaches you and asks you, hey, I need a printer. It's not as simple as like, okay, well, here's the latest and greatest Star Micronics printer that just came off the line. Sure, you could do that, but we know that that's not what Star and companies that are viable partners in this channel are going to do. Instead, they're going to come back and say, all right, well, let's reset. Let's ask some questions. What do we need it for? What is it? What are you trying to do? As Mark mentioned, do you need online ordering? Do you need mobile printing of some sort? Once you're asking those questions, you're building that out. And again, I think it's going to be the big differentiator between what partners that we have in this channel can do.
The channel, that's right.
Versus all those random companies that sure you can probably go Google and find somebody that'll give you a dirt cheap price on something.
Good luck.
But good luck on getting what your customer actually needs. So.
That's right.
And then you lose favor with them on the back end.
Yeah, for sure.
Well, then let's shift this conversation. Let's talk about it from the ISV point of view, because I know that's going to be a little bit different from what a reseller is doing. They might they might dabble in software themselves, but let's say you're just strictly an ISV and you're getting yourself into this channel, and again, you want to build some relationships, and you want to build a relationship with a hardware manufacturer in particular. What does that look like from their perspective?
Oh man, it's important for them to really, again, find that right fit. I know one of the things that it's like you said, just listening to the ISVs and with that, how we partner with them. But does the manufacturer provide any sort of support from the dedicated integration specialist, like Mark had mentioned, having someone that literally is going to test and test multiple times to make sure that the correct solution works with the software that they are providing. Is it a strong integration specialist that can help at any time? Let's say that integration specialist is out of town. Is there another team member that you can reach out to in the event that the launch of a product is happening, or you're doing an installation and the end user's freaking out because something's doesn't seem to be working right? So what kind of support do you get in those moments of where your hair might be on fire? Does the manufacturer expect minimum order quantities at the get-go? Because some of these ISV partners, they're just starting, like they're just trying to get everything out. So are there minimum quantities before getting support? For us, for Star, that's not something that we require. I mean, we want that volume, we want that business, but we understand there's a ramp up period. Do you get any sort of marketing assistance and help with promoting the complete solution, the software with the hardware bundle, the tablet, the tablet stand, the receipt printer, the scanner, the cash drawer, everything that's needed to make that particular point of sale, to launch that out to the market? And maybe you're an ISV. Do you have access to certain programs, networking programs, like we were discussing earlier? There are some ISVs that are like, look, I am really awesome. I make a great software, but I don't want to sell the hardware. What can I do? And that's where we at Star, we have what's called our delegate program, and we match partners up. We match an ISV to one of our reseller partners, so the reseller partner can sell the hardware on the ISV's behalf. That ISV can track those sales because that delegate partner is actually sending us POS reports, and the ISV can see that stuff through our portal. So there's like certain things that we offer to ISVs to make sure that they can do what they do best, with whether they want to sell the complete solution or partner with someone to help them with that complete solution.
Yeah, to Kate's point, no minimum requirements. The integration team, what we do, we start supporting any ISV, even if it's a startup, even if they don't have a website. We get on a call with them. We provide them the SDKs. We provide them demo units. No minimum requirements at all. And you'll watch them. I've watched ISVs, startups that have grown, and it's nice to watch in this last 4 years. Another thing is we follow up a few months later, 6 months later, do research on that ISV, what they're using, what they're selling. And once we see some new products out that can benefit them, we'll reach out to them. Hey, Mr. ISV, we got this new product. We feel like it'll work well with your application because of this, this, and that. So we'll even reach out to these ISVs before even launch of a new product and recommend some new products to them. A lot of the times the ISV is looking for something. For example, hey, we're looking for a Bluetooth printer. And the first question is why Bluetooth? How are you going to set it up? And after asking a few questions, they actually do not need a Bluetooth printer. They're going to be charging their device, the tablet. So you can use that one connection. A lot of the times we'll even downsell them on a product that's more cost effective because they don't need what they thought they needed.
So let's zoom our optics out a little bit. I think that's really, really valuable in the sense that if you're a software development company getting into the channel play and starting to develop relationships with hardware manufacturers, you want a partner that's engaged, right? And we just heard from one of the best in the industry, a couple of folks, obviously from Star, that know how to engage software development companies, have the things like an SDK in place that is malleable, that they'll listen to, that'll have feedback, if something needs to change for the integration conversation to happen. Obviously, they've got resources. We got them right here. The resources in place to handle that, right? Whereas some manufacturers, not so much. It's like, oh, well, yeah, here's what it does, and you check it out and see if it works on our system.
You try it.
Good luck, with that type of thing. We've got other issues to deal. They're just not engaged in the channel. You want somebody who's engaged in the channel. That makes holistically a huge difference.
Yeah, I love the idea of, hey, we just put out a new product. We're reaching out to you to let you know about it, to let you take a look at it, to let you test it, to let you see how it integrates and works with your software. It's one of those things that just, I promise you that software companies probably don't experience very often.
No, right.
They're probably
but that's
used
what the
to
channel's all about, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So again, that's something as an ISV I'd be looking for. Like, hey, is my partner someone that is going to proactively reach out to me and tell me what's happening in their business, what they're getting ready to introduce, how it might change our relationship, how it might change how I go to market with my software.
Yep.
I mean, especially like, let's say you put out some brand new super cool product that everyone's going to be excited about, and you don't want to be dropping in and integrating it and suddenly breaking the software, on the back end, or something where maybe the software company themselves can elevate their game in their business. Maybe they've been waiting for hardware to get to a certain point so that they could change up what they're doing also and provide better features. Yeah. So I love that. I think that's that kind of proactivity.
Yes.
I think can be very, very helpful for someone that's, especially for an ISV in this channel that are really good at what they do and what they know, but maybe need all these partnerships in order to reach the end users and get to where what they want to accomplish in the back end. So,
agreed. Yeah.
Good stuff.
Yeah.
All right. Well, then, so let's talk about the timing here. Maybe there isn't really a good answer for this, but is there a how early or how often that VARs and ISVs should be connecting with hardware vendors as they work on an opportunity? Like where do they start? When should they bring you at the beginning? Should it be middle, the end? Does it really matter?
Yesterday. That's when they should have brought us in. I know Mark's probably dealt with this more than me, so I'll let him kind of take with this one because he's the one that kind of gets involved with the ISVs especially.
Yeah, right in the beginning, because you're writing your software. And so, for example, you may just have a point of sale system in the front that prints out receipts, but you may also have a kitchen. You may want to separate, like for a restaurant, you may want to separate your drink orders to the bar and your kitchen orders to the kitchen, and your point of sale prints out the receipt. So there's so many nuances to it that you want to get the hardware manufacturer involved right away so you understand what type of hardware there's available, how you would set it up in your software, and what kind of SDK and codes you would need to get this working. So and usually it's the last thing that resellers and ISVs think about is the printing. They think it's pretty simple. You just hook up a printer. But when it comes down to launching, it takes them, it can take a little while depending on how you want to do it. So right in the beginning, just get us involved. We'll let you know what type of hardware it is, what kind of integration you'll need, and you'll be ready to go during launch.
That's really smart. I'm going to pivot the question a little bit because I think that part of the answer here is to have a strategy, right? A couple more statistics. We talked about the fear early on in this conversation. I can actually quantify it. 92% of companies haven't mastered ecosystems and are worried about sharing such things as intellectual property and competitive advantages and stuff like that. 77% of executives say they restrict data that is shared within the ecosystem. So, so there's fear out there. There's people that don't know how to interact with hardware manufacturers or the like. And so really you kind of need to have a strategy. I think Kate did a really good job of early on saying, hey, once we get over the initial hurdles maybe of how integration happens and stuff like that, there is a lot of stuff downstream that the partnership can bring, whether it's through marketing, whether it's through business development. You need to have a strategy around that because if you're going to get into the ecosystem, leverage the whole thing, right? Be all in on it. Don't just dip a toe and try to do a little here, a little there. I mean, strength comes through the ecosystem, and that's where the opportunities are going to come.
Yeah, I agree. And I feel like too, a lot of this comes back to what we've talked about many times before around this whole like the challenge customer thing and the idea of when you should be getting involved in B2B conversations and what's happening behind the scenes before you get involved. I mean, I know we've talked about that for in the perspective of the end customer saying like, okay, we know that the end customers have a lot of conversations. They're like, what is it, over 50% of the way through the buying process before they even bother to reach out to potentially an external partner.
Right.
I think the same thing can be happening on our end of the channel as well, where if you're not building these connections ahead of time, if you're not bringing in a hardware partner to talk about what you're doing and what you're trying to accomplish and maybe what you're building and developing from a software side, or if you're a reseller trying to build some solutions and go to market, or you're aiming for a certain industry that you want to start tackling, if you're not having those conversations with your partners ahead of time, then you're running blind into some of that stuff.
Absolutely.
Because they might have a different perspective and different questions that maybe you weren't ready for.
Not
yet.
just that, but your competition probably is, right?
Exactly.
And so to Kate's point, get in early and often with those conversations because there's strength behind the partnership. But look, if you're going to war or battle, against a competitor in a certain situation, you want lined up behind you the partners, right? And so that takes communication and partnership. You don't want to be that island because the island's not going to work, right? You're just going to, I don't know, you're just going to drift out there. You're not even
exactly.
Yeah.
Eventually, you just
good
find
point.
yourself surrounded by water. So,
And sharks.
all right. Well, then, before we wrap things up and talk a little bit about Star, a little more about what you guys do in particular in this particular partner, assisted solution selling and world. Yeah. I want to, as always, thank our sponsors here on the show. Thank you so much to Star, who is a sponsor of our TEConnect program.
Yes.
The podcast. Thank you for
Absolutely.
lending us Kate and Mark today. We appreciate your support of our show and what we do with our TEConnect program for ISVs in general. Hey, we always need to know what you think of the show. If you're watching us on YouTube right now, hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, leave us a comment. I love seeing comments. We don't get
Comments
a
are
lot of comments
awesome.
on our
Yeah.
YouTube videos.
Yeah, yep.
When we do, they're either some weird spam thing, or every now and then you'll get some random weird comment. But I love seeing comments. I love when someone says, "Hey, you know what?
Yeah.
I really liked what Kate said at
Get engaged.
At
That's
this
right.
point. I love what Mark's thoughts on this particular thing. We'd love to hear that stuff. Leave us reviews on your podcaster of choice, especially if you're on iTunes or Apple Podcasts. Leave us a 5-star rating review. I'd love to see some of those. I'd love to read some of those on air. Suggest topics to us. If you ever want to give us a topic, send it in to us. We always have a link in our show notes. You drop us a topic, say, hey, I want to hear more about this on the show. We'll send you a t-shirt just for telling us.
Just for like that.
Even if
a
we
nice
don't use
summer
it,
tea.
even if I say, hey, you know what, we actually did that 6 months ago. Here's the link.
But we're still
I'll
going to get you the
send you a t-shirt. Yeah.
That's right. Yeah.
Follow us on LinkedIn. Follow BlueStar on LinkedIn. You'll find all kinds of interesting stuff we got going on there. There's always recaps of the pod there too. And also, if you want to reach out to us directly on the podcast, you can find us on Twitter at TEConnectPod, or you can email us TEConnect@BlueStarInc.com. All right, let's wrap things up. First of all, with our value to the VAR, kind of our way of wrapping up our conversation, giving a takeaway. Now, we've had a lot of already great hints about what Star does here in the channel and how you guys work with VARs and ISVs, but let's tap into that a little bit more. Let's talk about you in particular. What do you offer to them as a partner? How can they work with you, and what should they expect out of a relationship with Star?
So I guess I'll start. Initially, when you first reach out to us, you're reaching out to the integration team, and we're learning about your application, your product, and we're providing you the correct SDK. For example, somebody that has a native iOS and Android application, we have what's called React Native, and you can build, if you know how to code in that, you're building 2 different applications with that one coding. We'll provide you demo units. We will provide you a dedicated integration specialist that will be communicating with your developers. What this does is it speeds up the development process. That saves a lot of money, and we make sure that you're working seamlessly before we let you know, okay, you're good to go. So on the integration side, that's what we do. Big, small customers, new startups, it doesn't matter. We're supporting. And then once you get that going, the marketing team can take over, and Kate can talk a little bit about that.
So what we have, whenever we start to engage with new resellers or ISVs, we actually have our Empower Partner program, which yours truly is in charge of. And the Empower Partner program basically offers partners competitive pricing, no minimum order commitments, we don't expect you to do $1 million sales annually in order to gain access to it. It's something that it's available to everybody. We have a fantastic partner portal, which gives you access to a variety of, as Mark had mentioned, the SDKs, drivers. So from a tech support standpoint, if you are offering your own technology support for your customers or your end users, you have access to a lot of tools through the portal. You have access to marketing collateral, spec sheets. You can look up SKUs if you have any questions, if you're not sure what kind of SKU that you need or what the part number is for a particular product that you're looking for. And then you can look up your order history as well. So there's a lot of things that in the Empower program, it encompasses a lot of the tools. It's meant for you to empower our partners to be as involved or as little involved as they want to when it comes to the relationship. And then it also, we provide, I mean, our marketing support is pretty incredible. I work with a fantastic team here at Star. We have someone who's great at doing design work and video editing. We have somebody who's fantastic at writing, doing blogs, case studies, anything of that nature. If someone comes to me and says, "Hey, I need a presentation or I need a slick about this bundle that we're trying to push," I basically get it over to my design and writing team and they can put it together. So, and that's something that we don't like technically charge for. It's just something that we do as a relationship to help you get going. So we really try to provide our partners all the tools necessary to help them succeed. And I will say, between our marketing team, our sales team, our integrations team, like, we all work in tandem together to make sure that we deliver a full, encompassing, successful solution for our partners.
And when you're a reseller, that's exactly what you're looking for, right? You're looking for a partner that's going to be there. And when I put on my old reseller hat, you want a hardware manufacturer that's going to do everything that Kate just mentioned, or at least offer up those services, because they're in the trenches with you. Star Micronics happens to be one of those companies that really understands the channel and understands how to embrace and empower people within the channel. So good stuff there.
Yeah. I mean, basically what I just heard is, we understand how to be partners.
Yeah, it's exactly right. And we got all these tools to make
we've got all the tools to do it. We get partnership. Partnership makes sense, and we will be a viable and useful partner for you.
There you go.
There you go.
Yep.
Great. All right. Well, hey, let's wrap things up as always with our favorite segment, What's TEConnecting with You? This is where we get to chat about something in the world of science, tech, business, innovation, just whatever we feel like talking about that's on our mind or we're playing with today.
Yes.
So I'll let you guys start here. Mark, we'll let you kick it off. What's TEConnecting with you right now?
So what's TEConnecting with me right now is this new product we launched at the NRF in January, and it's at the NRA show. It's the MC Label 3. This idea came from a customer. So if you know that if you're using the cloud print technology, which you place an order from anywhere in the world, it hits the server, the printer is pulling that print job from the server. There's two ways to connect cloud print. So either via Ethernet or Wi-Fi. But now with this new MC Label 3 and some of our newer products, we have what's called Tetherland. What that means is when you connect a 4G or 5G tablet or cell phone, now you're pushing that internet to that printer, and that printer is communicating with your URL with your server. So basically it means you can be remote and using the new cloud print technology that we have right now. This idea came from talking to a customer about 3 years ago, and seeing that idea and bringing it up to Star, and actually now launching it. It was beautiful for me to see, because so many different industries can profit from this, to where the industries or the ISVs or the end users that don't have internet access, food trucks like we talked about last time, can now go cloud print remotely with a 4G, 5G device. So Tetherland, you're going to see it on all our new printers.
Nice.
There you go.
I guess I shouldn't be surprised that a product integration guy is excited about a cool new product. I mean, if you weren't excited about it, it probably wouldn't be a good product to put on the market anyway.
Maybe you're in the wrong job.
Yeah, exactly. Kate, what about you? What's TEConnecting with you right now?
So mine's actually not Star related. So
that's okay.
Oh, nice. There you go. Yep.
It's a little off the wall. So I was on my personal Instagram account, just kind of like looking through stories, and my brother-in-law and his girlfriend went on a trip to San Francisco, and they rode in one of those Robotaxis, and they entire story on it. And I still don't know how I feel about it. I'm like, I don't know about, I mean, then again, you have people behind the wheels of cars and they can't even drive sometimes, especially if those droplets fall from the sky called great rain.
Yeah.
But I'm watching the video of how of this Instagram story of how this Robotaxi is maneuvering around like delivery trucks and pedestrians. And it was really wild to me. So I'm like, are we really in that era now? But I a little crazy for me.
Kate's a little on the fence about fully autonomous vehicles. Right. Is that what you're saying? Yeah.
I get
understand.
it. We've talked about this before. I love the idea. I want it to happen, but I want everyone else to be doing it too. I don't want me to be in the robo while other people are still driving because they're the wild card.
Okay, you don't want me to bring up the fact that hundreds of years ago, when elevators were put out, that people had the same fear of getting in an elevator. I'm not gonna. What is that thing that automatically takes you up a floor? No.
Yeah, but I don't have to worry about someone else driving their elevator into mine. That's the difference.
You're saying it's a little bit different. The stakes are a little bit higher.
That's my concern, because at least when I'm in control of my vehicle, I'm paying attention to what other people are doing and can potentially react.
Yeah.
If I'm letting a vehicle drive me and some other idiot decides to drive stupid, I got
you. So, Kate, did they make it safe, I guess, right? They made it to their destination?
They made it safe to their destination, but then, of course, I went down the rabbit hole of, like, searching because they tagged I think it's called Cruise. They tagged them in Instagram. So then I was going through watching the videos, and I was just like, this is wild. And I live in South Carolina. We would probably be the last to have any sort of technology like that.
Right. We'll see. That's pretty good.
What about
stuff.
You, Dean?
All right, I'm going to rewind to the 80s to the teenage Dean. I came home from school, and I didn't consume any news except for MTV News. And I am sorry to say,
MTV News,
RIP as of May 9th. MTV News, 36 years after its inception, is no longer a thing. So gone, Kurt Loder, Gideon Yago, all the people that were.
I think they were long gone.
Well, they were long gone anyway, but still, I had a bit of nostalgia. I've watched MTV News in probably 30 years. But, that was such a part of the childhood growing up.
I didn't know MTV News still existed, for one thing. I just assumed it had already been long gone.
Oh, so you'd killed it a long time ago.
Because let's be honest, MTV stopped being relevant a long time ago.
Well, it's not really music television.
Yeah, exactly. It's not what it was when we were young. No, not at all.
Not at all.
Yeah, I saw it too. Because I agree. It was like,
but the little space do dance, I got the whole thing.
I still remember.
That was my news.
I still remember seeing, what was his name, Kurt
Loder.
Kurt Loder, yeah, exactly. Yeah. I still remember the day he announced Kurt Cobain dying.
Ah, yes.
I still remember seeing that particular, broadcast on MTV News. It was very iconic.
Yeah.
So,
Mark, Kate, did you guys watch MTV News at all growing up? No?
Oh, no. I would come home from high school and middle school, and it was all about TRL, Total Request Live. Is it going to be Backstreet Boys, NSYNC, or Britney Spears #1? And I had to know. I mean, it was a thing. You had to race home to watch the.
Yeah, we got a few years on Kate. That was when we were. That was our college years.
That was
that stuff was going on.
Dang you, Kate. Mark, you consumed MTV News, Mark?
Yeah, absolutely. But when you said May 9th, it finally ended. I was also wondering what year, because I didn't know it was still around.
Exactly.
Well, that would be May 9th of this year. It just sunset. That's brilliant.
Exactly.
Brilliant.
Yeah.
Exactly.
I mean, I couldn't tell you the last time I even watched MTV.
Would you just let me live in my nostalgia, please?
Pimple-faced Dean back in the 80s, rushing home to watch the latest
it's
Weird
not like
Al
I
video.
cried about it, but I had a flashback. We're just going to say that.
All right.
So what's TEConnecting with you?
All right. So, this is one of those things it's not surprising, and I know some of the electric car companies, maybe like Tesla and some others have already been kind of doing this, but this idea of features on demand in the automotive world.
Okay,
where
gotcha.
Rather than buying a vehicle that already has everything already in it that you want, or just buying what you have that's got stuff in it.
You can buy it.
That now you can buy a kind of a base model vehicle and pay subscription fees to add on features. Like, for instance,
I don't know that I like where this is going.
Heated seats, steering
exactly.
wheels. Right. So there's this article in the Detroit Free Press that basically says there's a study that came out that automakers may face tough sell with subscriptions for heated seats, remote start, and other features. And I'm not surprised by this because, cars cost a lot of money to begin with.
Oh, yeah.
And even though I get the idea of saying, okay, well, maybe now instead of a $40,000 vehicle, it's $25,000 and you can add on whatever features you want to upgrade.
Yeah, no.
We have enough subscriptions and on-demand stuff and like tacked on type monthly fee. I get that we exist in an industry where the SaaS model is a big part of what we do.
Yeah, but I think it's different here.
But I think this is a place where it just doesn't fit. And it sounds like from some of these studies and talking with consumers that consumers are not particularly interested in this either. So I'll throw out a couple quick stats for you here from some of the surveys. He said, although it said the awareness on features on demand, first of all, is very low among shoppers, with only 21% of in-market shoppers familiar with the concept, although 41% indicated an interest in it.
Yeah.
So they see some benefit, but then you start getting into the discussion about what it means.
Yeah. This is where it falls apart.
Yeah. It says shoppers saw to it was the benefit they saw to it was a lower starting price, but research only showed that 58% of shoppers expected a features on demand approach to ultimately be way too expensive. They had concerns about data security and privacy too. Finally, 69% of respondents indicated that if certain features were only available via subscription, they would likely shop elsewhere.
Yeah,
and
I would agree with those
That's
folks.
the kicker. I'm that way too. I mean, I get the idea of, maybe you get, like, let's be honest, we've all had a little FOMO with a vehicle. Like I bought my car like 5-6 years ago now. My wife bought a new one a couple years back. She's got a few features in hers that I look at and go, oh man, I wish I had that. And I potentially could have at the time, but just didn't know there was something I wanted.
Yeah.
I get that kind of stuff, but I don't know that I would ever be in a place where I'm going, okay, I'm going to buy this car, and then a year down the line decide I really want to have some heated seats and start paying $20 a month for that.
To me, especially the things that are already on cars today, like to me, heated seats are like table stakes.
Yeah.
What do you know? So you got to start with like the base model that has everything in it, and if you're going to charge me a subscription, it's got to be like net new stuff that I couldn't have already gotten on my 1984 Honda Civic.
Exactly. It's got to be some significant upgrades or new technology that has newly been introduced.
Like missile technology, or I can do oil slicks. I need some, I might pay you.
What was that game, Spy vs. Spy? Is that what you're talking about?
Kate, Mark, are you with me here? Just some road rage apparatus that maybe
like spitting the banana peel.
There you go. Little Mario Kart action.
That for sure.
Dude, I pay $20 a month for some banana peels flying out the back.
That might be worth it, yeah. Well, and I look at it too as like, all we're talking about here too is if you're going to go to the subscription model, at some point that means you're going to be paying more overall for that.
Oh, for sure.
Over the months and months and months and years that you're doing it compared to buying it outright. And they know that too. That's exactly why they're trying to do this. They want a piece of that recurring revenue.
Well, we're not in the right demographic here because the younger folks are very subscription oriented. So maybe.
But still, it sounds like this is just may not really take off. Although I did find it interesting, they did mention like GM themselves even said they're going to start eliminating stuff like Apple CarPlay and Android Auto in their future
subscription
in their EVs to like roll out their own stuff and have subscription stuff.
There's going to be some pushback.
I think there's going to be some backlash to that. Yeah. All right, that is what's TEConnecting with us. Kate, Mark, thank you guys so much for being on the show today. We appreciate having you.
Yep.
Until next time, go out and
I want my banana peel button now.
Get your banana peel button. Try out a Robotaxi, get excited about some products, and I don't know, find your music, television news elsewhere.
Yeah, unfortunately.
And as always, folks, please stay connected. This episode of the TEConnect podcast was brought to you by Star Micronics. Okay, we just talked all about Star partnering and partnering up with someone that like is proactive and helps you find solutions that maybe you didn't know that you really needed or that maybe you weren't even thinking about in relation to them.
Give you a competitive advantage.
There you go. Well, Star Micronics is proud to offer both function and style with its M-Unite tablet display stands and mounts built to accompany their vast array of printers, cash drawers, scales, and peripherals. To see
it's like a partnership with their peripherals.
Yeah, they're just thinking like, hey, we get your buying, our printers for a lot of POS setups and stuff. Well, guess what? We got other stuff in the world of POS, especially if your partners or your customers are using tablets.
There you go.
So these all-steel stands, kiosks, and mounts are compatible with any tablet manufacturer and their tablet enclosures, including the popular universal M enclosure. The M-Unite stands are easy to set up and suitable for a wide range of printing out solutions, from the MC Print 3 and M Pop to the TSP 143 and TSP 650 TX54 series. Star tablet displays offer attractive minimalist design, cable and wire management, and simple assembly, enhancing your customer's brand with decluttered, stylish workspaces.
So nice.
It is, yeah.
Yeah.
With Star, it's not just a tablet stand, it's protecting your valuables. Check out the link in the show notes or contact your BlueStar account manager to learn more. TEConnect Podcast is brought to you by ELO. One product,
Yes.
thousands of uses.
Nice bold claim.
Like a Swiss Army knife of digital displays.
One product, thousands of uses.
That's right.
Yes.
The possibilities are endless with ELO's iSeries 4. From self-order and self-checkout to order pickup and virtual assistance, pair the iSeries with a variety of stands to create your perfect kiosk. Audio and video applications? Yeah, no problem. They can do that. The iSeries offers built-in digital microphones and an 8-megapixel camera. iSeries also lets retailers build engaging experiences, educate buyers, create brand awareness, and drive purchases in-store with an easy-to-use interactive platform that can adapt as needs change. They got a built-in I/O hub, USB-C connectivity, and optional customer-facing display, so you can easily convert your favorite iSeries into a powerful, industrial-designed POS system. I mean, they got
There you go.
their bases covered here.
Adaptable platform. I love that phrase.
Yeah.
Yes. Yes. Who doesn't want adaptable stuff?
Exactly.
Right? Yeah.
To learn more and select the perfect iSeries display for your customers' needs, contact your BlueStar ELO representative. TEConnect Podcast is also brought to you by Zebra. All right, this is something that anybody should want to do. Make more,
Yes.
earn more,
Yes.
and sell more.
Of course.
And you can do it all with Zebra.
Ah.
Zebra partners can combine promotions, spiffs, and trade-in incentives for a perfect sales trifecta of rewards.
Nice.
Sounds like something you should be betting on in a horse race. Putting all my money on the Zebra sales trifecta. Developed to expand awareness with Zebra reseller community, the Sales Trifecta campaign highlights the benefits of combining eligible and active promotions and incentives to increase partner margin, motivate sales reps, and drive customer opportunities. I mean, if you're not one of those people that wants all those things, better margin, motivating your reps,
Where
get
are
them
you?
excited to sell,
Yeah.
driving opportunities with your customers.
Holy moly.
I mean, you do know that you're in business. Right?
to succeed.
Like you do,
Yeah.
exactly.
Yeah.
You're not just doing this because it's something to do on the weekends, right? I'm assuming. All right, to learn more about the sales trifecta, check out the link in the show notes, but you must be a Zebra partner to access and take advantage of this campaign.